This segment's going to be called Everybody Wants to Be That Darn Cat.
You are sticking with naming these segments.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's fun. It gives me a little bit of joy because there's not a lot.
Don't do that. It messes up the recording.
A lot of people seem to think that the best day of the school year is the last day. Those people clearly need more schooling. Yeah. I'm sorry. The best day of any school year, kindergarten to college, was when a random animal, usually a dog, would storm the school grounds and make the faculty look a fool as they try to chase him away. That is the best, funniest thing that ever happened. So let's go to Echo Park, 1952. Specifically an area known as Elysian Heights, which is the northern, more residential area on Echo Park Avenue. It's connected with Elysian Park and Elysian Valley. One day...
Are you familiar with that area?
One day in 1952, a gray striped tabby neighborhood cat wandered into Elysian Heights Elementary School on the corner of Baxter and Echo Park Avenue, and he was noticed...
Familiar with that street?
I don't know anything. I'm real dumb. He was noticed fairly quickly by the kids, who of course were very excited and curious why this cat had wandered into the school. The teacher was ready to ask the cat to leave, but the students pointed out, "You need to get out of here."
She couldn't speak cat.
The teacher was ready to ask the cat to leave, but the students pointed out that the cat looked thin. So the teacher served it some milk, and the kids gave it tidbits from their lunch. And you know that phrase, you give a cat... I wrote it weird. You can give a cat to fish and he'll eat for a day. That's not it.
You can give a cat to fish, but you can't lead him to a horse.
You can give a cat a fish and he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a cat to fish, he's technically a student. You'll expect you to keep giving him fish because his parents already paid for the school lunches.
And he'll want a diploma.
So the kids went to recess, right? They left the cat there. When they came back, the cat was still there, sleeping on a desk, and he had rummaged everyone's lunch bags and lunch boxes and ate all this food. So then the lunch bell rings, and after being adored and taking a rest from being adored to sleep, he followed the kids to lunch, and the kid's like, "This is crazy, he's still here." And they just keep feeding the cat. Anything the kids are loving it. And after a long day of sleeping and eating and being adored, the cat Credo, he wandered away from school. And everyone's like, well, that's the last time that we'll ever see that cat.
That's the last time we'll ever be happy. So this is rejection.
But the very next day, the cat came back, wandered into a class again, did the same thing. And it must have been the when I'm reading this...
He ate everyone's lunch again?
Yeah. In my head, it must have been the funniest day. The funniest day of all of this must have been the second day. Because the first day must have felt like a fluke. But on day 2, when that cat comes back, you're like, what? He's going to do it again. This continued on every day that school was open. When people were there, he would show up, and no one wanted him to go away, so he stayed.
Kids started withering away because they never got lunch.
The only line I read about staff thinking it wasn't a good idea was overcoming objections by some teachers. That's the only line in this whole story where someone's like, maybe this isn't a good idea to have this stray cat on the grounds. But that was it. So there was an overwhelming embrace to this neighborhood cat who had just wandered in school. So everyone just now adjusted to having this living mascot. This cat did not have a name because it was a stray. As far as anyone knew, no one owned the cat. So, what are you going to do? So they started coming up with suggestions for names of the cat, and they were being thrown out. One of the students said, well, why don't we name the cat after the classroom that he seems to go to the most? And that room was room 8, which is a clever pun on roommate. I don't know if that kid...
And because he ate everything.
Because he also ate everything that you put near him. And so goes the tale of Roommate the cat. There wasn't much backstory on Roommate, but one of the teachers, it might have been Beverly Mason, who figures heavily into Roommate's life, says that Roommate was born in 1947, making him about 5 human years old when he started attending classes. He was a neighborhood cat who may have been treated really badly or without much love or attention at home, so the cat sought peace and affection in a new home. Floozy. Yeah. I'm just hanging around a bunch of kids. What? So according to most of the readings, what Roommate did the most was get fed by students, thus becoming...
his favorite pastime.
He was no longer a thin little cat. He was a plump little guy. You see in a bunch of pictures, not a fat cat. And he would...
That's where the phrase fat cat came from also.
He was also very rich.
He struck oil one day.
Roommate would eat everything, and then he would just sleep in the sun. There was a golden rule that must be followed in regards to the presence of Roommate, and that rule was, don't bother the cat.
Don't acknowledge the cat.
He's going to do what he wants to do, and you just leave him. As far as I can tell, that counts as don't play with the cat when class is in session, but also...
Homie don't play cat?
Homie don't play cat. Don't mess with him. Just leave him be. He's going to just hang out and sleep in the sun. Don't, poke him. Just let him sleep. Don't bother him. There was some stories I read where Roommate would just plop on a kid's desk, and if he had to be removed, then it was up to a child with the position cat remover that had to relocate Room 8 to a more convenient spot.
I thought you were going to say that it's like when bald eagles nest like in the middle of the road or something, and the whole road has to shut down because they're endangered.
It's not that far
I'm
off.
sorry, you're expelled. The cat's sitting on your
The cat's
desk.
I mean, you can't touch the cat. And your homework's under the cat. So, I mean,
You're homeschooled now. Did the cat ever eat anyone's homework?
They tried, and he wouldn't.
He would eat everything
Please.
but the homework.
Please, I only did half of it. You just got to eat half of it. Sometimes Room 8 would walk along the silver eraser tray of the chalkboard with his fur and erase all the words the teacher had written. But if you're going to write that low, then it's up
Just
for grabs.
ignore the cat.
There was another more coveted position in 6th grade, and that was the kid who appointed the position cat feeder. Cat feeder, or sometimes called the cat monitor, was top cat. The cat feeder got to go into the teacher's lounge where Room 8 was fed and give him offerings. This chosen student also got to...
Human offerings.
This kid also got something that I'm genuinely jealous of. If you're the cat monitor, when you take the class photo, you get to hold Room 8 in the photo.
Oh, that's cool.
That is really... It's so funny because I've been going through Facebook groups dedicated to Room 8, and there's also groups dedicated to Elysian Heights, the school. Okay, obviously, all the Room 8 stuff is about Room 8, but then Elysian Heights is just... They'll have conversations that aren't necessarily about Room 8. They'll be talking about, like, alumni and stuff, and they name Room 8 like it's just, like, another faculty member. Here's the principal, here's the assistant principal, the vice principal, here's Room 8, here's the class president. Like, it's people talk about Room 8 like he's just another thing, and it's so funny just going through pictures and some kids just holding this giant cat in his arms.
It's weird how things like that can be normalized.
Yeah.
This is the old rotten steak that we have in every class picture. What's the big
What's
deal?
the big deal? Oh, you don't know about a steak. Room 8 was adored. He walked around the hallways and he would just pop into classes and just get petted and sleep.
Imagine how exciting that would be for the students in the class, and how annoying that would be for the teacher that's trying to keep all the students' attention.
There's a stereotype of cats that they aren't affectionate and they don't like children, but Room 8 was not that type of cat. Room 8 was like part dog and also that part of Garfield that ate a lot.
He's also a tie-tie cat.
As far as I can tell, it didn't seem like he came on weekends or during vacations. Like, he followed the school schedule, which is one of the things that he's remembered for the most. They likened him to the swallows of Capistrano. Every September, Room 8 would trot in from wherever he had been, and nobody really knew where he was coming from.
He had a lei around his neck.
And sunglasses and a tuxedo.
Don't ask me about my spring break.
I'm not ready to write that essay. But yeah, first day of school, he would just show up, and he would show up. He had perfect attendance. He'd show up every day, and when it was the last day of school, he would just disappear.
He was the best student.
It seems like around the 60s is when Room 8 started to get popular outside of the boundaries of Elysian Heights. Look magazine ran a 3-page spread in November of 1962 titled Room 8 School Cat. Principal Beverly Mason, who was the voice and living counterpart to Room 8, and there's 2 teachers, Virginia Findley and Valerie Martin, whom I don't think I've said this yet. I went to Elysian Heights. My family went to Elysian Heights.
I was that cat. My children would go to Elysian Heights. I challenge you to die.
Reading some of these names, I'd be like, do you know Valerie Martin? They're like, yeah. They wrote Room 8's biography in 1966, which was put out by Putnam Publishing. The Weekly Reader, which was a national magazine for elementary school students, had a short article about Room 8. He made a special appearance at local cat shows. He appeared on, and I have to find this, Art Linkletter's show House Party, apparently a few times on that. He was featured in a documentary in 1968 called Big Cat, Little Cat, which I can't find.
Who's the big cat? Shambhala.
Neil. Yeah, Shambhala. And aside from being a cat, Room 8 was also a ham. While some kids were nervous around all the interviewers and media attention, Room 8 was cool, calm, and collected. A cool cat, if you were.
What's that?
I don't understand. In 1964, Room 8's paw prints were embedded in wet cement on the sidewalk of the school on June 11th.
And that's how he died.
He's still in that cement. The janitor, Sam Ross, was the one who helped Room 8 in and out of the cement. Television crews were there to film it. This is better than any footprints in front of Gromans. I'll fight
Toto
anyone.
got her footprints
I'll fight
in there.
anybody. And with this media attention came fan adoration. Room 8 reportedly got 10,000 fan letters from 47 states and several foreign countries with an average of 30 letters a month. And once he got 100 letters in a day. According to the article I got most of my info from.
Who writes a letter to a cat?
I would have. Some of the letters were written to Room 8, Los Angeles, California, or The Cat, Los Angeles, California. You know, the cat, you know the one. His fan letters became so vast that students were appointed to act as Room 8's secretaries, so kids from the 5th and 6th grade would answer each piece of mail by hand and then sign it with a rubber stamp of Room 8's paw print.
Did these kids get an education?
Yeah, they became secretaries.
It turned into a complete secretarial school. Get them while they're young. You work for the cats now.
Some of these fan letters that came in had donations with them, so that money went towards the school library fund, and some of the profits from the sale of biography that teachers wrote went towards paying for Room 8's postage, which went out to kids who wrote to him. But as the years pass, it's the same old story with every loved pet. Room 8's health weaned in and out.
Weaned?
Yeah, weaned.
Waned?
Waned. Ween's World.
You're a ween.
Room 8 got older and lost teeth.
Ween's World.
You got it?
I get it.
Cool.
Room 8 party on.
Room 8 got older and lost teeth and was injured in a fight with another cat. Room 8 Room 9. Yeah. Room 8 nearly died of pneumonia in December of 1964, but managed to pull through. What?
I was just going to say room 789, but because he avenged 8.
Thanks. The responsibility of the cat nurse fell on several staff members' laps. Custodian Sam Ross.
Hang on. How much of the city's money went towards creating job positions to take care of this
Everyone
cat?
loved to do it. Volunteer position.
They had a $4 billion tax hike.
The mayor came back from this trip in the Cancun to take care of this cat. The custodian Sam Ross and the principal Mason would be the ones usually to take him to the vet. The Nakano family of the area remember looking after Room 8 from their home, and one night when they couldn't find him, they organized a flashlight search party to roam the area and check the bushes for the celebrity cat. Near the end of his life, he continued to be affectionate and warm with the students of Legion Heights. He never got like cranky and weird as he got older. He was always very affectionate. Also, let's add that he was 17 pounds by that point, which I googled the average weight of a cat and it fired back 7 to 9 pounds, which means that Room 8 was 10 pounds more loved than most cats.
Oh God, he was shaped like an 8. Also, he really lived up to it.
40 years after his bout with pneumonia, Room 8 passed away due to kidney ailments in August of 1968 at the age of 22 human years old.
That's a good age.
Yeah, no, it lived a long life. They calculate that to be 154 cat years old. A well-loved friend and student.
Part Moses also.
His passing was covered in several publications, including the LA Times and the Long Beach Press-Telegram. And his obituary ran 3 columns with a jump and a 3-column photo on the front of the second section of the paper. And if you don't think that's a big deal or that's important, ask yourself how many columns your dumb dead body will get.
To be decided.
He was laid to rest, as he liked to frequently do, at the LA Pet Memorial Park at Calabasas with the Nakano family.
Spoilers.
With the Nakano family laying a wreath of roses and carnations on his grave. Room 8 loved to walk through gardens and smell flowers, much like Bela Lugosi in Plan 9 from Outer Space. So it was fitting to leave him with flowers. Room 8 lives on in many ways. Songwriter Leo Kottke, wrote an instrumental tribute to Room 8 on his album Mudlark. I've heard it's very pleasant.
Ew, I don't like that word.
Hetty Perry, a woman from Pasadena who never knew Room 8 personally but read the stories about him, was so moved that she opened up the Room 8 Memorial Cat Foundation in 1972, which is a no-kill shelter for animals, which is...
No-kill shelter for obese cats.
You got to be you get 17 pounds. Supported by donations. So if you're looking for a place to put your money, that's the place to do it. It now exists in Riverside, and it's still going strong. My favorite memorial for Room 8 is Elysian Heights itself, which adorns several murals all over the school. All along the avenue, students wrote in cement slabs their names and the memories they have of Room 8. My aunt wrote one.
Really?
Hers is there, yeah.
I'm going to dig it up.
That's why I'm not saying her name. His paw prints are still there. There's photos of him all over the place. I went to this school, and I didn't kind of get it until high school. My friends started coming over, like, what's with the cat? I'm like, well, it wandered into a class. Like, so? I'm like, it's kind of a big deal. You don't get it.
I remember you told me, because I was curious about that cat also, and you're like, yeah, that's Room 8 the cat, and I considered not being your friend anymore.
Just like we were talking about the class photos and how you just kind of accept it at that point. I'm just like, it's Room 8. What?
That's the god of our neighborhood. It's a cat.
That's our biggest celebrity. I don't understand why you're mad.
I got mad.
Yeah, livid. But there's another way that he lives on. Many students in the neighborhood have said that they eventually ended up taking Room 8 in during the summer times, feeding him and sometimes letting him stay over, although he usually wouldn't stay long, but instead would show up frequently and may have impregnated a cat because that student's cat gave birth to a gray striped tabby litter. So it's very likely that Room 8's lineage continues in Echo Park. So be nice to all cats in Echo Park.
The prodigal kitten.
I never really thought about, I knew I liked Room 8 a lot. My family knew Room 8. We had, it comes up in family stories sometimes, but reading the story this way, it's a really nice story about this reciprocal relationship between this school and this cat and how they had feelings for each other. It's really remarkable. There's not a lot of stories about schools that take in pets and then it becomes the mascot, like a living mascot.
Yeah.
Above all else, what is important about this is there's a lesson to teach children about opening your doors to those who need a place. Room 8 is a symbol of hospitality. I'm so glad those murals and the sidewalk memorials live on because I can't think of another school that has anything like that.